everyone, and welcome back to my channel. This video is going to be a little bit of a sort of response to your comments video about the two videos I did on social communication when because I've been obsessing a lot about it lately. It's like a kind of thought worm that won't stop going round in my head, and it's been really frustrating trying to kind of scissor the two apart, as it were, social communication and social interaction. Oh yes, I mustn't forget, I've just remembered, before I carry on with this video, one of you mentioned, and I'm very grateful for this, as a way of trying to get more subscribers, because although that isn't my primary aim of doing this channel, I just like doing videos, and the fact I've got any subscribers is great. But you know, I essentially just do this for fun and for my own kind of vocational enjoyment. But obviously I love getting subscribers, and I really appreciate all your subscribers. Every time someone new subscribes, you know, I always get a nice feeling, and I'm like, yay, someone subscribed to my channel, because obviously, you know, I do like getting subscribers. You know, it's a nice thing that people like to subscribe to my channel, and I'm very grateful every time I get a new subscription. But they said one way of trying to get more subscribers would be to say at the start of a video, which I'm going to do now, please click on the notification bell to see when my new videos come up, and also please press the like button if you like to show, you know, if you like the video, if you like this content, and please leave a comment in the comments box below as well, you know, obviously to let me know what sort of videos you might like to see, and just your thoughts on the content that I'm currently uploading, because, you know, I always like feedback, and also spread awareness on my channel as well to other people who might be interested, and of course do please subscribe. Okay, thank you to the person who said, you know, he suggested I should do that. It's been very helpful, thank you. Anyway, to get back to the topic. So yeah, so I wanted to respond to your comments, because you gave me some very good comments, and I read all of them, and they definitely gave me food for thought on this subject, and brought some clarity to this issue. So I'm just going to sort of read out some of the comments now, and kind of, you know, just so that you know, in case you haven't read people's comments, and I just thought it'd be quite good to kind of just read them out, really. So one viewer said the following. They said, I think this old distinction between interaction and communication was more relevant to, and a legacy of, a focus on classic autism. Individuals with classic autism often do not speak at all, or use a very small range of words and expressions, as well as engaging in other unusual communication, such as exclamations and echolalia. For those who are higher functioning, with good verbal skills, communication issues are less clear-cut. Their communication is often articulate, but may be seen as unusual in other ways. The correspondent adds that an example of this might be that the person goes off topic or ends up annoying others or losing their interest. They clarified by saying that all this is wrapped up more broadly in issues of interaction. While not identical, interaction and communication are too closely linked to be usefully separated. And it has also been, they also drew my attention to the fact that it's also that recently the DSM has got rid of the triad of impairment and replaced it with a dyad that combines social interaction and communication into one. Now, this analysis has been most informative, so thank you for explaining this complex topic. I think my autistic brain likes to force things into fixed boxes when in reality things are often more fluid and less easily defined. Although I can say that, and I can say that to camera, my brain still likes to put things into boxes. So my brain is still obsessing. It has not stopped obsessing. But as the two, social interaction and social communication, are so similar, it is a fool's errand to try and force them apart. But annoyingly, I get stressed when things are so vague and amorphous. I think the viewer is spot on by drawing attention to the way good verbal abilities can obscure significant communication disability, and I think it's the non-verbal element that is most obvious for autistics who are verbal. So I can talk very well, as you could probably see from the videos I do. You know, I might sometimes use, you know, good words, you know, but I'm not good at picking up the subtle hints, irony or jokes, and I struggle to communicate through body language what I'm feeling. I would also like to say that it's probably not obvious on this video, because I can cover it up very well, and I think what I say does come out quite fluidly, and I've often been told, you know, by people that I'm very articulate and I sound very articulate. But believe me when I say, inside my brain right now, it is really difficult. Just talking, just doing this video, even though I'm actually reading from my notes a lot of the time, is really difficult. It requires a lot of energy. You probably don't notice, but inside the words, they're kind of like, I'm having to get them out, and this is really, really hard work. So I think that must be, correct me if I'm wrong, I presume that's a communication issue. It's just a lot of effort, like verbalising things, even though it appears I'm really good at it, which I am, at least on the surface, and at least I do manage to make a very good impression of being a very eloquent, articulate person, and I do have a very, very wide vocabulary, and I've got a high verbal IQ. Actually, the act of verbalising is really hard work, even though it might not look like that. This morning I had a meeting with someone, which went really very well, and I ended up talking a lot. But and I can do that. When I get into flow, it can be quite hard to get me to shut up. I have so many words coming out, like I feel this kind of tension. It's kind of like I'm almost like on a full motor. It's like I've got so much to say, and it just all comes out. Again, I'm often like slow to get started, and I can feel quite awkward at first. But then once I get started talking on something, then it all comes out. But then it's hard to stop. So anyone listening in will be like, oh, she's like a torrent of words, because literally all these words come out. So yeah, obviously it sounds like I'm really articulate, I'm really verbal, I'm really fluent, but it's a lot of effort inside. I can't make eye contact while I'm talking like that either. I have to look down. If I were to try and make eye contact, that would like just make my brain go into a bit of a frazzle, so I have to look down. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm presuming that's under communication, but all I can say is it feels really difficult. So yeah, and obviously I do struggle to communicate through body language what I'm feeling. I mean, I do gesture with my hands, you know, I've learned to do that. I think because obviously I watched a lot of Kate Winslet videos growing up, because she was my role model, and obviously that's, you know, that's what articulate people do, isn't it? Go like that with their hands. But the thing is, for me, it's just all kind of like, I'm not really doing it, I'm not doing it in a way that non-autistic people do. It comes across as just quite a kind of like, I don't really feel like I'm using body language to communicate in a way non-autistic people do, and I can't read people, I can't pick up on their body language, you know, I'm not picking up those micro expressions, I'm literally just focusing on the words, and obviously I can't mind read for toffee. But when I was younger, we used to watch a lot of films, and I could never follow the plot line. I couldn't work out if someone was lying, or, you know, saying something, someone said something, but their face was showing something else. I couldn't work it out, I couldn't read between the lines, so I was constantly asking my mum, I don't know, I don't understand this, what's happening? And my mum would have to say, oh, pause it again, and then she'd have to tell me, you know, what's happening. And obviously, you know, I watched a lot of films growing up, because my mum in particular was big on film, so we'd always watch a film pretty much every single evening, and I think that probably obviously taught me some of the more how to socialise on a more overt level, and obviously really did aid my comprehension, which was particularly bad at that age. It's got a bit better, but it's still pretty, you know, I still find it hard to follow plots, and I have to use subtitles. But yeah, I can't read people's faces. So yeah, another correspondent says the following: social interaction is the way people talk and act with one another. Social communication is the use of language in a social context, whether written or spoken. You seem to be talking about the difference between small talk communication and deeper conversation communication. With small talk, the actual words being said are the smaller part of what's being communicated. The info being conveyed is via body language. So if we're not, just turn the page. If we're not looking at someone all that much, 75% of the info is largely being ignored. Communication sans conversation is giving a speech, lecture, etc. The spoken or written language is communicating almost all the information. Again, this analysis has been most helpful, so thank you very much. You were spot on. I much prefer imparting or gathering information. I can mask the basic mechanics of small talk. I've learned over time, you know, to mask it, but oh my god, it is so hard work. It does not at all come naturally to me, and it can be cringe-worthy and feel really, really awkward. But I can't utilise the body language cues because I'm not even aware of what they are and what they mean. When people say that like non-autistics pay attention to these body cues, I'm like, what exactly are they? Because yeah, I know people do give off body language. I know that, I've read about it, people have told me, but I mean, what? I don't know, because I don't pick these things up. If you're not noticing information, how can you even know what you're supposed to be looking for? you know? So yeah, I'm really only communicating words, not non-verbal contextual cues. Another commentator, meanwhile, says that Asperger's is chronic overthinking. Yes, absolutely. I can overthink something to destruction and it is painful. But as another commentator adds, someone who struggles with interaction will have problems communicating and vice versa. And there is no form of communication that doesn't have a social element. And I think that's spot on. Another commentator adds that social interaction is like a tennis match. One person talks and they hit the ball to the other person. The other person then reads the person's face, which is the communicating bit, and the second person hits the ball back. They add that before they began to mask, they would just be on their own, bouncing a ball on a tennis racket, and they're talking there sort of via analogy or metaphorically, meaning I presume, and do please correct me if I'm wrong, that they would monologue and not have a real back and forth conversation. I think tennis is a great metaphor, analogy for social interaction. Also, I'd add dance and rhythm. Dance and rhythm. Interestingly, I recall reading somewhere that there is overlap between problems with rhythm and clumsiness in autism and social skills. I relate to this because I used to take dance classes and it would take me ages to work out the moves and keep in step with everyone else. Social interaction must require similar attunement to non-verbal rhythm cues, almost like a social dance. Do let me know what you think about that, because I think autistics often do struggle with some elements of like motor skills, coordination. I certainly did growing up, and I still do to some extent now, though it's less obvious now because I'm not in work and in environments where I really need, particularly when you're operating to speed. I can be fine when I'm on my own and I'm working towards my own schedule and timetable, but when other people expect me to work to a certain speed and you have to do it really fast paced, I do really struggle with rhythm and coordination, and yeah, it's awkward. But I do think there is some kind of overlap with sort of coordination more generally and social coordination, which might explain why autistics, particularly people with Asperger's, can be quite like clumsy. But do let me know your thoughts on that overlap between clumsiness and social clumsiness. Okay, so I really appreciated your comments, and again, do please click on that notification bell, do please subscribe, and do please like if you like this video. So I'm now going to be moving on to video number 2 now, where I'm just going to be providing a sort of general update. I'd like to show you a little bit of my 2019 diary and just a few other things. So moving on to video number 2 now.